Throw some ground ball. It's more democratic.
What's this guy know anyway? If he's so great, how come he's been in the minors for 10 years?
Tim Robbins in Bull Durham.
Name? Trisha Campbell Hurst.
Natasha Richardson in Patty Hearst. Forrest Whitaker in Bird. What do they all have in common? All are actors who came into their own during the past year of movies. We'll be looking at those 3 and 5 more in our New Faces of 1989, our annual review of up-and-coming actors who we think are making their mark now in the movie business. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. My first choice for a new face of 1989 is Martha Plimpton, an actress who has been in a lot of major movies like The Goonies and Mosquito Coast in the past without attracting a whole lot of attention, until she co-starred with Barbara Hershey and Jill Clayburgh in Shy People, which came out early in 1988.
You've never seen a Walkman before? Well, here. No, it's okay. Here, listen. Listen.
She played a sophisticated New York teenager in a very unsophisticated Louisiana bayou. And it was the first of several important recent roles for her. Last summer, she played River Phoenix's first girlfriend in Running on Empty, the story of a family of 1960s radicals who are still on the run. In this scene, she doesn't understand why he has a secret to hide.
I wanted to explain why I can't talk about a lot of things. Like college. I can't go to college. I can't leave them.
And in Woody Allen's new movie, Another Woman, she plays the stepdaughter of Gina Rowlands, a smart academic woman on the edge of a breakdown. Plimpton's understanding and rapport are what make that relationship work.
I just wanted to make sure that the shock of it didn't upset you too badly.
Well, to tell you the truth, I'm not shocked. I'm just surprised. You know, I mean, if I can be completely honest, I always felt that there was something between you two that was, I don't know, maybe too comfortable, or maybe that's not the right word. Just something, you know.
What intrigues me about Martha Plimpton is that she looks and talks like one of those people who is very smart and is trying to set the slightly dumber people around her at ease by sort of poking fun at herself. This is a strategy that helps her occupy the center of most of the scenes she's in, since even when she's doing nothing, she always seems capable of taking over if she chooses to. She's always looking at other people in a scene as if she's having thoughts about actions that she might take. That's a fascinating mannerism that she has, and as she grows out of her teenage roles, I have the feeling she's going to become a major American actress.
It wouldn't surprise me. She's very, very good. And one of the keys, we did a show about half a year ago where we talked about underrated actors and actresses, and the one unifying theme that we found when we did that show was that they were all very bright on screen. Yeah. And this is particularly true of Martha Plimpton. It really distinguished her. We've got a lot of actors her age who are glamorous and all that, but I don't see too many that are quite as obviously bright as she is.
For example, in Running on Empty, her big
film that I'm thinking
her big scenes are with River Phoenix,
right? But
she's established early on in terms of her kind of relationship of two equals between herself and her music teacher father. Yeah. And the way she stands up to him makes her into somebody to reckon with even before she deals with River.
And she doesn't do it with a lot of dialogue, just with some phrases and with an attitude. Very impressive. My first pick is Forrest Whitaker, who plays Charlie Parker in Clint Eastwood's affectionate biography of the jazz giant known as Bird. Most of us got to know Whitaker a year ago when he played Robin Williams' jolly friend in Good Morning Vietnam. But his transformation as a hulking man, the drug-bedeviled Charlie Parker, was something to behold.
If you want to play like Bird, you got to shoot like Bird. Is that what you thought? Is that what they told you? I don't remember. No! No!
Whatever you thought about the movie Bird, and I thought it focused more on the drug addiction story than the music, still, the performance of Forrest Whitaker indicates we have a major new acting talent among us. It's hard to believe it's the same man in Good Morning Vietnam and in Bird. He seemed like such a kid in Good Morning Vietnam.
For that matter, I was looking at Platoon again the other day, and he's in Platoon also. What he has that's very interesting is a very large comfortability factor. And even as Bird, he's not kind of a strung-out Lenny Bruce type drug addict. He's a guy who has a real big problem and knows all about it, but is still able to do... Now, that kind of factor will make him, I think, into the kind of actor who can play roles of very dependable people, like the best friend in Good Morning Vietnam.
Well, he has, I mean, he's a big guy, but he has this emotional weight, too, as well, and that's very impressive. Okay, coming up next, more new faces of 1989. John Mahoney, who seemed to be in every other movie made all year, and Kathy Baker, who is emerging as a powerful new dramatic actress.
I knew. Slick guy like you had to do some kind of bogus tap dancing for a living.
Our next so-called new face of 1989 is anything but a new face. He's character actor John Mahoney, who came to prominence in 1987 as Olympia Dukakis's lonely dining partner in Moonstruck.
Would you like to join me for dinner?
Are you sure? I'd be delighted. I hate to eat alone. It's amazing how often I end up doing just that.
In 1988, he delivered 3 more solid performances. He played a U.S. Embassy official confronted by Harrison Ford in Frantic. He had a much bigger role as a sorrowful bigot explaining his plight to Deborah Winger in the political thriller Betrayed.
All these people with guns, Shorty.
Yeah, I know it. I don't like it either. Hell, I have to close my eyes every time I pull the trigger. You got a good heart, Katie. There's nothing wrong with that. But you'll learn. You got to do what's got to be done. I learned, too. All I ever wanted was just to raise my crops and raise my boy. The bank took my farm, and Vietnam took my son.
Mahoney also was impressive in 8 Men Out as the earnest manager of the 1919 Chicago White Sox, the Black Sox team, the team that threw the World Series. Mahoney's character was not part of the scam.
Every series I've been to has been some rumor about a fix just to shake up the odds. You hang out in bars, you hear a lot of screwy things.
Doesn't mean they're not true.
My guys would have told me something was up.
Sure they would, kid.
In those scenes, you can see a basic down-home quality that is Mahoney's trademark. In these small roles, he reminds me of another plain-talking actor originally from the Midwest, Gene Hackman. Mahoney is that good. We'll see now if he gets bigger roles.
If he does get bigger roles, the interesting thing is that we'll be able to see him as the lead, as the actor, rather than as the reactor. And in the scenes that we just saw, in one way or another, he's playing a similar character, not in mannerisms, but in the meaning of the scene. He always seems to be apologizing to other people for some shortcoming of his own. He's the guy who got the drink thrown in his face by the young girl in Moonstruck, and he's the official who can't do anything, and he's the racist who kind of wishes that he wasn't. So he's always kind of apologizing. When we see him in a more assertive role, as he's done a lot on the stage, I think that's going to be a real revelation.
I hope we get to see it.
Okay, my next choice for a new face of 1989, and actually, all these choices are mutual, aren't they? I mean, it's not...
Well, I haven't found one that I object to yet.
Okay, you let me know what you think about my next one.
I'll be sitting right here.
Baldwin. I hope you like him, because I sure do. An actor whose name you almost certainly don't recognize, so perhaps you ought to start with this scene from Beetlejuice, his biggest hit, so you might recognize his face there. Baldwin has the ability to look like a leading man and yet project the offbeat qualities of a character actor, and you can see that in 2 big year-end movies where he has major roles. Talk Radio, where he was the hard-driving station manager trying to ride herd on an outrageous talk show host.
It's a job. That's all it is. You can come in here and start predicting Armageddon if you want to, Barry. But it's still a job. A job you did not even know how to do until I taught it to you. What do you think you're doing in here? Changing the world? This is a talk show, Barry, and you are a talk show host.
And here he is in Working Girl, where he plays Melanie Griffith's discontented boyfriend.
I'll have a Chivas and buy milk or whatever.
You got it.
No, I just meant the hair and the studs and the briefcase. What's going on?
Make fun if you like.
No, you look good. Classy. What'd you have to go to traffic court or something?
Alec Baldwin is good-looking, which is never a handicap in the movies, and yet he never seems to be only skin deep. He has a kind of driving, aggressive quality. You could see that in talk radio. An energy that gives you the feeling he's not quite satisfied with himself. He wants to prove something. And it's that sort of edge that gives dimension to roles that a conventional leading man might simply walk through.
No, he's not just a head of hair. I mean, the guy has got something behind those eyes, and I think that he is a star to watch. He's also picking, and you know, this is the other quality. You can have all the talent you want. If you can't pick good roles, then you're lost. And the pictures we've named are high-quality films. I mean, Beetlejuice isn't the greatest picture, but it's not bad, and talk radio is a distinguished film. Coming up next, we'll look at the chameleon-like actress who transformed herself into Patty Hearst. And later, I'll look at the brilliant comic performance of Tim Robbins as a wild rookie baseball pitcher.
I want to bring the heater to announce my presence with authority.
To announce your what?
Announce my presence with authority.
Program on the year's brightest new movie discoveries. My next choice would be Kathy Baker, an actor who in only 3 movies, none of them box office hits, has established a reputation inside the industry as a very powerful new dramatic star. She drew the most attention for her performance as a hooker in 1987's Street Smart, especially in this scene with Oscar nominee Morgan Freeman.
Well, you're changing positions.
Can't you just leave me alone?
You want me to leave you alone? Huh? You want me to leave you alone?
I was a great admirer of an overlooked, unjustly overlooked 1988 film named Permanent Record about a teenage suicide. Here she is as the mother of the dead teenager.
Come on.
Yeah.
Nothing. You want to dance?
No, I don't want to dance.
Come on, you can come to that party
No,
with me.
I'm not coming to that party.
Come on.
That's enough now.
Kathy Baker's most important role to date, she was the alcoholic who fell in love with Michael Keaton in Clean and Sober when they were both in a rehabilitation program.
So you want to get together and do something when we get out of here?
I live with somebody, remember?
Yeah, I know. Right. I know. I'm talking about something casual. Bring Lenny. Come talk. Listen to me. You come to my house for dinner. I go to your house for dinner.
You're coming to my house for dinner.
Yeah, I'm going to come to your house for dinner.
Are you, me, and Lenny?
You can almost feel her insecurity there, her real need for something she can hold on to and depend on. Kathy Baker has a particular vulnerability in those roles that makes her very interesting to watch on the screen. She's great at playing uncertain, fearful women, and my hunch is that it takes a lot of inner strength to show that kind of weakness on the screen. I think she may surprise us in some of her future roles. Like most of these new actors we've been talking about, she has a particular presence on the screen. She doesn't just seem to be standing there. She has a relationship with the camera that almost compels us to look at her and wonder what she's thinking and feeling. Without that quality, you're simply saying the lines, but Kathy Baker has it.
Well, she has it when she walks right into the first scene in Clean and Sober, which is another overlooked film of 1988. Yes. I mean, if people get anything out of this show, they should screen Clean and Sober and screen Permanent Record. Those are 2 very fine films, and she's excellent in them. She really is the surprise. Michael Keaton's performance is marvelous in Clean and Sober, but she's the one that catches your eye whenever she's on screen. My next pick is Natasha Richardson, who with her mesmerizing performance in the title role of Patty Hearst solidified her position as one of our brightest young talents. I first spotted Richardson as the novelist Mary Shelley in Gothic.
My story is a story of creation, of a creature who's racked with pain and sorrow and hunger for revenge, who haunts his mad creator and his family and his friends. To the grave.
But in Patty Hearst, she did a marvelous job with the always difficult assignment of playing a living person who we think we know.
I am basically an example, a symbol. And it's important to remember that because it's important to the SLA that I return safely. Mom should get out of her black dress. Doesn't help at all.
A lot of actors have told me that the one thing that they don't want to do is play somebody that is alive today and that people think they know. That's very hard, and it's a very hard thing to pull off. Natasha Richardson does it. She holds that movie together as much as anything else. I liked the movie, some people didn't, but I don't know of anyone who found any fault with Richardson's work, or could. It's one of the great performances of last year.
And you know, it probably is not the kind of performance that gets a lot of attention because she's playing a very passive person, a person who is probably rather laid back to begin with, and then goes into a situation where all of her character and all of her originality are beaten out of her until she becomes just an instrument of this Symbionese Liberation Army. So that to play that takes a lot of humility on the part of an actor in order to give up a lot of what would be their screen presence in order to make the character more real.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of playing someone whose every emotion has been virtually cauterized runs almost antithetical to screen acting, which is displaying emotion. So it's really a tremendous achievement.
That's right. Coming up next, Frances McDormand, whose career ranges from Raising Arizona to Mississippi Burning, and Tim Robbins, the star of Bull Durham.
I mean, there's no relationship between sex and baseball. Ask Crash.
I did.
And what did he say?
He said that if I give in to you, I'll start losing again.
Continuing our list of new faces of 1989, again, I'm picking a veteran performer who simply came into her own this past year. Frances McDormand had juicy roles as an adulterous wife in the thriller Blood Simple. That was 4 years ago. She also was memorable as a neighbor of Holly Hunter and Nicolas Cage in the wonderful comedy Raising Arizona.
Ray, you take that diaper off your head. You put it back onto your sister. Anyway, you probably got the life insurance all squared away.
Have we done that yet, honey?
Gotta do that, Hi. Eddie here's got our hands full with this little angel.
Yes, ma'am.
What would Ed and little angel do if a truck came along, splattered your brains all over the interstate? Where would you be then?
Yeah, honey. What if you get run over?
Where you got carried off by a twister?
Those films were cult pictures made by the Coen brothers. But at the end of 1988, McDormand broke into the big time with a significant role opposite two big stars, Gene Hackman and Willem Dafoe, playing a Southern woman with a moral conscience in Mississippi Burning. McDormand plays the wife of one of the rednecks who helped kill 3 young civil rights workers. And FBI agent Gene Hackman uses her to get at the killers. He also seems to be falling in love with her.
You know the South, Miss Anderson. You leave high school, marry the first boy who makes you laugh.
Hey, your husband's quite a guy. You know, my boss has this thing about an hour, 50 minutes to be exact, that your husband says that he's with you. And I guess he was.
Guess he was.
I found her presence in the film to be its most surprising element. I knew the story of the triple murder, but McDormand's character and her performance gave me a fresh face in the South. She should be remembered next month when the Oscar nominations for Best Supporting Actress are announced. I'll be very disappointed if she's not on that list.
I will be too, because what a great performance and how important to this movie. And what's interesting is the unlocking of her character is the key to the whole investigation that Gene Hackman is trying to perform.
Right.
And she knows that she likes him before he catches on that he likes her. And why? Because he treats her decently. He just treats her in a straightforward way and talks to her as if she's a reasonable person, and her husband has been putting her down for 20 years, and she almost flowers in her face.
I know that.
In a subtle way.
At the same time, I'm glad you said a subtle way, because at the same time, you're not sure if she's going to flip or not, and which way her character is going to go. Listen, to hold your own against Gene Hackman is very tough, and she is equal to it.
But to create that little duet for two, when they're alone in that house.
We've seen films about 2 different kinds of policemen before.
Yeah.
This is a great little romance inside a political thriller.
Frances McDormand. Okay, my next choice for a new face of 1989 is Tim Robbins, who is not exactly an overnight star either. His career began in 1984 with Fraternity Vacation. We all remember that movie so very, very fondly. And he was in forgettable roles in The Sure Thing, Top Gun, and even Howard the Duck. But he will not be overlooked or easily forgotten after his big break this year in Bull Durham, the hilarious comedy about baseball and sex, where he played a hot young pitcher who tried to learn some tough lessons in living from 2 veterans of life, a middle-aged catcher played by Kevin Costner, and an easygoing baseball groupie played by Susan Sarandon.
Yeah.
You're playing with my mind.
I'm trying to play with your body.
I knew it. You're trying to seduce me.
Well, of course I'm trying to seduce you, for God's sake. I'm doing a damn poor job of it. Aren't I pretty?
Oh, God, I think you're real cute.
Cute? Baby ducks are cute. I hate cute. I want to be exotic and mysterious.
You are. You're exotic and mysterious and cute, and that's why I better leave.
It is a truism of acting that comedy is harder than tragedy. It is also true that dramatic comedy may be harder than any other kind because you can never act as if you know that what you're doing is funny. But that is exactly what Tim Robbins did in Bull Durham, a movie in which he was the slightly simple-minded kid with a great fastball who attracted the attention and the help of two older people who were just soft-hearted enough to forgive him for thinking he was such a hotshot. It's a nice balancing act.
It is a nice balancing act. What I liked about it is it is absolutely a hilarious performance. At the same time, he is a self-contained character, and he does think, as you quite well point out, that what he's doing is perfectly normal. He doesn't see himself as a buffoon, and it's one of the great roles, and he's equal to it.
Now, when you look at all of these 8 people that we've talked about this week, one of the funny things about this program is frequently people come up through the movies and you notice them in a movie, you notice them in the next movie, you wonder who they are, and then suddenly they come into focus and you say, oh, that's John Mahoney, you know, or that's Kathy Baker. It's the same with Tim Robbins. He's been around. He's been on the screen. They need that role that will put them up in front so that you can see who they are and notice them. And he got it. They all got it this year.
Yeah, I've had a theory. I don't know, some people might find it interesting, at least I do, and try to explain it to you.
I'll see if I do.
Okay. When a role catches part of the essence of the actor, I mean the real essence of the person, just a flavor of it, that's when they blossom and hit it big. It may not be, I'm not saying that Tim Robbins is a wild catcher, but he has a wild quality to him, somewhere inside of him, and when it hits like that, it's magic on the screen.
So that they catch their
something inside
peculiarity of whatever it is that makes them individual, rather than just plug them in for this little role or that little role. That's it for this week. Next time we'll be back with reviews of new movies, and until then, the balcony is closed.
Nestle Crunch. It's creamy milk chocolate and crispy crunchies. Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why you'll love Nestle Crunch. Pledge. Generation after generation, Pledge keeps your wood furniture looking beautiful without any buildup. With Pledge, dusting can be beautiful. Johnny Cat Premium Cat Litter. Johnny Cat and a little privacy is all any cat needs. Everything else is just cat box filler. Clorettes. Fast-acting, breath-freshening gums and mints. Only Clorettes has Actisol with chlorophyll. It gets rid of bad breath fast.